Welcome to part 2 of how to have your best ever year. In this session, Nigel Risner will show you how modelling your business on companies outside of recruitment can have a huge benefit. He'll also show you the danger of having so-called internal terrorists in your business. Let's take a look.
Second thing you want to do if you want to have a phenomenal year is model off the very, very best there are in businesses, but don't model off your competition. I'll give you an example. Everyone do this, please. It's interactive. Everyone do this. It's interactive. Everyone make a circle like this. Brilliant. Everyone put it to your chin. Excellent. That's your chin. Mike, this is the best you've got in London, is it? This is going to lead the recruitment business forward. These are the people who've been watching your videos for the last 5 years. Excellent, I love this. We had 12 people going, I can do this, I like this exercise, yes. Just think about this. Your staff, your team are modelling your behaviour. They're watching what you're doing. But here's a really weird thing. Think about some of the best organisations in the world that are out there, and what are you doing to model them? But don't look at other recruitment companies. So I'll give you an example. Has anyone ever bought anything from Apple or been to an Apple store? Yeah. How easy was it? Horrendous. For you it was horrendous. You obviously had issues. Who said so? Oh, sorry. What do you mean it was horrendous? Well, the product's brilliant, but the service. Okay, so you obviously went to the wrong place or had a wrong person, because generally speaking, that you go in there and it's pretty slick. But they do something that's really cool. Have you ever seen a sign outside their window that says, only 2 kids allowed, no food and drink? Do you know why they like kids coming in with food and drink into their store? Spend some time. What else? Parents are happy. What else? Have a guess who one of their biggest markets are? Our kids. They want kids coming in. They want them with dirty hands touching their stuff. They get a chance to experience what they're doing. Get people through the door, as many as you can. Remember that thing about enough mud sticks. Don't make it so difficult to do business where people can't come in. Has anyone ever bought anything from Amazon? Anyone ever bought anything on Kindle at 3 in the morning? Or was it just me that was up, you know? Because I'm in these strange beds in hotels. Have you ever bought anything on Kindle? One click and a book arrives on you. I mean, I can see you've got about 9 gadgets in front of you, so you're obviously an Apple man to a core. But you know, you just press one button and it's there. Would that be fair? How easy is it to do business with you? To register, to get online, to become a candidate? And Mike and all of you spoke about all these online phenomenal facilities. Have you ever tried to go online to do it yourself? Okay, that wasn't a rhetorical question, by the way. Are you easy to do business with? Once a month, you should try and do one of your processes and see how easy it is. And once a month, send you as an email as part of your mail shot, and you'll be amazed how shocking it is. I didn't realise until very recently, if you wanted to buy a product of mine, you had to go through a whole list. And has anyone seen Michael McIntyre's sketch about passwords and about going to the cinema at the O2 Centre? So he wants to go to the O2 Centre to watch Despicable Me, and the first question is, you've got to register. And it asks, where do you live? And then the countries come up. Angola. He goes, who would be going to the Finchley Road for the 8 o'clock performance of Despicable Me coming from Angola? You know, I'd like to see the Angolan film. You know, you're not leaving at 8 o'clock to get there. And then, of course, the United Kingdom is about 700 down. And then you've got to put it in your password. Then it tells you your password's too weak. You know, that whole process. But that's what it's like doing business with you occasionally. Just recognise to buy a product off Amazon takes a second. To go into an Apple store, and has anyone bought an iPad? Do you remember the instructions you got with your iPad? Were there any? I know, just how to switch it on. People just want to get going. Think about a company you really admire. Anybody got a company you really admire that's a non-recruitment? Virgin. Because? Why do you like them?
I think it's portrayed modern.
Yep.
I think it's portrayed funky.
And it's interesting you say all that. It isn't, by the way, but it looks like it is. And people often say Richard Branson's an inspirational leader. He is not. He's not the greatest communicator, but he appears like it is. So you've just got to have an appearance and act as if your stuff is fresh. It's all about perception. All communication is perception. So what could you do to become 5% more like Virgin? A couple of weeks ago I went to be a Virgin, and then I had to change my language to be like Virgin. What could you do?
We could be easy to use.
Fine, okay.
A lot easier. I think we could be more accessible. And when you take your point, which I think is absolutely right on Nigel, is if you're a user and you want to use us, you probably need a degree in rocket science.
Okay, well, there you go. And so, you know what? I can't be asked after a while. So I'll just go to a deco, because I can walk in and I can fill in a form and speak to somebody. And even though it may not be the exact thing I want, it's pretty easy.
I've got some flights recently with Virgin and used air miles because we use cards, going for a perceived value, and we get upgraded. And I think it took me 10 minutes from click to finish.
And it takes how long to register with you?
3 weeks.
Perfect. I mean, you've only lost 7 candidates, 4 jobs, and we've only got a limited amount of candidates. And even in jest, your job is to get it 5% quicker. You're not going to get it overnight as fast as Amazon, who spent 12 trillion and still haven't made a profit yet. But there is a bit that says, could you be 5% quicker? So I just want 2 other companies you really admire. Rolex, because?
High-end. Good brand, well-known, Swiss.
It tells the time, doesn't it, the watch? That's all it does, just for the record. No, but I was just saying, I just want you to understand, what it actually does is it tells the time. It's not complicated, but it's perceived to be top end, and all the marketing, you know, they sponsor Polo, they don't sponsor like the Red Bull stuff, which is totally the other end of the market, which is extreme. So Red Bull is extreme, and Rolex sponsor quality. Does that make sense? What could you do to become 5% more like Rolex?
Probably have all our stuff a bit sharper.
Yep.
More efficient. Our website could be a bit sharper.
5%. Just work on 5% over the next 21 days. The reason I talk about 5% is because once you start the ball rolling in a bit of training, it starts to continue. The idea we're going to have a whole new training budget, it's never going to work. Just start with every single person, literally a bit like military, we're going to inspect you. We'd like to see your desk, we'd like to see your computer. If you leave the premises, we'd like to see what you go out with. It's really interesting. I waited years, and I've just got it back. But this is my new case, which I got for Christmas for my daughter. When I turn up with my case, have a guess what people do? Yeah, I know. Only because I used to have a really nice Mont Blanc bag, which was lovely in 1982. It was. And I love it. It's been with me all the way through my finance career and my business career. But I used to have a wooden briefcase, and then it broke. And I've been desperate to find one, and my daughter found it. $142 from the States. But as I walk in, I feel like a mensch. I feel quite upmarket. It's just a briefcase. The same as a Rolex, it's just a watch. But when you put it on, how do you feel? And then you feel like $1 million. What's the chance of acting like $1 million? Over the next 21 days, look at the team. If they leave your premises, are they representing, does it look like Rolex? And there's nothing wrong with looking like Swatch if that's the image you want to portray. And I'm using a deco, and apologies. If a deco is Swatch, and they sell millions of them, and your business is Rolex, make sure it is Rolex. Are you wearing a Rolex watch? Yeah. Excellent. Have a guess what you're going to be offering to your staff over the next 21 days. You're going to be offering it to if they get the personal needs met and you support them.
We have done it before, yeah.
And how do people feel when they get the watch? I know, but if you'd have offered them the same money as a bonus, it's not the same thing. Just be aware, money isn't always the answer. Don't get me wrong, we need money. One other company you admire, and I'll tell you just one other of mine that I admire. Anybody?
Like GE.
GE, because?
They've just scaled up businesses, not just one business in a short space of time. They've kept going for a long time.
Do you know why they've kept going for a long time? If they're not going to be number 1 or number 2 in their market, they don't want to be in it. They don't want to be number 3. Think about some of the sectors you work in. Are you perceived as number 1 or number 2 in that market? When it comes to leadership and communication, I'm perceived as number 1 or number 2. After dinner speaking, I don't know if I made myself clear, top 62 million. Are you a GE in your marketplace? Are you as smart as Rolex? Are you as sharp as Virgin? Don't compare yourself with other recruitment people, because you just modelled me on that basis, remember? So you got to be in the room if you want to have your best year ever. You got to check out people's personal needs. You want people to think about organisation they like. Starbucks is one of my classic companies who I like for two reasons. Has anybody been into a Starbucks recently? And you know you've got the people at the front, and then just behind them, has anyone noticed what we call a quarterback? There's a person just behind the front line who is just getting things sorted out, who is doing a bit of froth, who's getting a paper cup, who's getting the nuts or whatever. And they're just making the service faster by 5 seconds. Have a guess what people want at 8:30 in the morning on the way to work? Speed. They don't want a whole conversation. How's it going? Lovely to see you. Where were you yesterday? Had you have a nice holiday? It's about speed. So they have what's called a quarterback just behind the front line. They've got someone in their organisation who's just making it sharper, faster, quicker. But then Pret-a-Manger and Starbucks do something really cool. Have you ever noticed when you go into some of those type of stores, like Pret-a-Manger or Starbucks, they've got some really good people? Do you know where they've got really good people? Any idea? Good recruitment, because they have what's called talent scouts. That any time the manager goes into another store, could be a shoe shop, television, whatever, they say, whenever you're thinking of leaving, come and join us. And they have cards for it. Wherever you go in the world, you have a business card that says, this is a bit like headhunting the other way round. We're looking for people, and you may not be in the position to leave today. I'd like someone like you. Do you know a lot of people you should be hiring? It's going to be really complicated. I'd like you to write this down. This is the type of people you should be hiring. Just write this down. N-I-C-E. Nice people. That's all. Do you know what? If you have nice people, you can train them well. If you've got really brilliant people who aren't nice, they normally leave your organisation. Has anyone ever had someone who's really been a phenomenal recruiter but wasn't nice and they went soon? Sorry? Brilliant. But I bet they were brilliant on the CV and all that stuff, but they weren't nice. Go to Starbucks and find someone who's really nice and train them. There's a good chance they'll stay. But we know we're looking for 25 years experience. And one of the problems with 25 years experience, you're going to pick up all their bad habits of the other companies they've worked for. Not to say you shouldn't have other recruitment people, but hire nice people. But it comes on to point 3 of my whole thing about having your best year. Would you agree that the energy and passion in your organisation is contagious? Would you agree it works negatively as well? You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with, my friends. You are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. Have you ever had one of those moments where you're feeling really great, you come to work and there's what called the BMW people? Do you know about the BMW people? The bitching, moaning and whining people? You know those people? Doesn't matter what the company's doing, they're just bitching, moaning and whining. And what happens to your energy within 10 minutes? It just goes with those people because you become the average of the 5 people. But I want to show you a really cool exercise, which you're going to think is a bit made up, but it's not. But I want to show you the damage that negative people can do, because there are 2 groups of people in the world, in my humble opinion. There's what I call loving, nurturing, caring, supporting people. But most organisations don't have all people like that. Well, they have a couple of people, and some of you will have friends like this. Has anybody got a friend like this, that when you see their name on your phone, you kind of go, oh no. And we call those people psychic vampires. They literally suck the lifeblood out of an organisation. But worse is in real terms of recruitment, especially in a market like you only have to have one negative person. We call them internal terrorists. They become your biggest competition. Because would you agree, you must have some competitors in your field. How many staff have you got in total? 10. When you get to 10 staff, and I remember what Andy said, you've got 7. When you get to 10, the first terrorist is emerging. And anyone got 50 staff? Yeah? Okay, you've got 3. Anyone got 200? Or might you know organisations with 200, don't you? They have 5 to 10, and there's a group of them.
They recruit each other as well.
Well, I wasn't even going that place, but that's why I said when you get to 10, see, up to the first 10, you've been involved in most of it. Would that make sense? After 10, your number 2 or number 3 employs somebody else. And that's where the first bit of problems occur. But I want to show you the damage that internal terrorists can do, but worse, the advantage internal, loving, nurturing people can do. So I need a volunteer for this exercise. Can I get a volunteer? Okay, I'll be with you. It's William. I'll be with you in 1 second, William. Your hand was second. The rest of you, what stopped you volunteering? You knew Will would do it, even though you were facing this way. That's kind of cool, yeah. Anyone else? Something stopped you. A bit like the black dot all over again. That's called uncertainty. And I said that's what life's all about, is dealing with uncertainty. Anything else? Something held you back. And what's holding you back here is what holds organisations back. Because you're not that busy, because you could have volunteered. You've got nowhere to go. You've made your phone call. We did all that. Anything else that stopped you? So you thought someone else would. That's what happens in most organisations. I thought someone else would bring the candidates. I thought someone else would make the coffee. I thought someone else. Well, let me tell you, if you want to have your best year ever, you have to take responsibility. So can I borrow you for a second? Thank you. So why did you take a risk and volunteer?
What's the worst that happens?
I love that. What's the worst? You see, that concept, and what's the worst it's going to be?
Country.
A little bit severe, yeah, on camera, yeah, a bit of evidence here. And we've got a lawyer here, so I've got a lawyer, I'll punch him here. I've got a lawyer and it's being videoed. Okay, so we're going to do something called kinesiology.
Yep.
Do you know much about kinesiology?
Not really, no.
Anyone know much about kinesiology? Cool, so we're going to do just literally 1 minute. So you're right-handed, left-handed?
Right-handed.
Okay, I'm going to work with your left, it's easier for me. Any operations on this shoulder?
No.
Not yet, excellent, excellent, excellent. Just put your left arm out to the side like this. I'm going to push down. I just want you to resist as much as you can. Resist when I push down. Resist. Cool. I'm down. So what I'd like you to think about, I want you to think about a really phenomenal experience in your past. Something you're really proud of. You got something in mind?
Yeah.
I want everyone in the room to think about something you're really proud of. Might make it up if you need to. Okay? But just everyone else, just think about something you're really proud of. So we're going to bring success into the room. They're all going to focus on you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Left arm out. Resist as much as you can. Lots of smiley faces. Resist when I push down. You ready? Thank you. I'm down. Now, can you imagine being in an organisation where everyone is supportive? How would it feel? Yeah. I mean, imagine tomorrow you come back and say, we've got a new idea. We're going to set up a new IT division. We're going to be sharp on the website. We're all going to come in dressed a little bit. And everyone goes, yeah, I think this is really good news. Problem is, would you agree it's not always like that? Because people hate change. People hate uncertainty. So there's a whole team of resistance. So we're going to do something a bit weird here. I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. And I want you to hold on to your big success. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And I want all of you in the room to think of one thing negative in the world. Just bring it into the room just for a second. Is that okay? You're going to only going positive, my friend. Is that okay? Left arm out. Resist as much as you can. You're going positive. Okay, you ready? What happened? I promise you I wasn't pushing harder. This is really important to understand from an integrity point of view.
That's bizarre.
Any idea why your arm went down so fast?
No.
Okay, just imagine how many people in your team? Total team.
40.
Right, you go back to the office tomorrow, and you say, I've got a brand new idea, this is what we're going to do. And 39 go, we're not doing it. What's the chance of success? Be honest for all of you here. Absolutely zero. If 39 people don't want to play the game. But that's not what normally happens in organisations. Let me tell you what normally happens in organisations. There's one or two in your team who go, he's been to one of those meetings, hasn't he, with Mike? Yeah, new ideas. We've all got to work, we've all got to wear a left hand up here, and we've got to use a right pen, and we've got to use Evernote on a Thursday, and maybe Note on a Tuesday, and we're going to have a yellow pen, because that's bright. Two people go, you're talking. Yeah. Anybody have that at moments where two people just don't want to play the game? So I'd like you two to go negative. Is that okay? Mr. White Shirt and Mr. Very Smart Shirt. A little bit laid back here. You're not as smart, by the way. Just take note. Okay, fine. Okay, so you two are going to go negative. Everyone else in the room is going to be positive. Do you think you'll win? Do you think you'll keep your arm up this time?
I hope so, yeah.
Okay, we'll focus on this lot.
Still unlikely.
Okay, we'll focus on this lot because they're much more positive lot. Is that all right?
Right. Eyes open.
Eyes open because I want you to see their faces. They're all trying to support you. Okay, is that all right?
Yeah.
Left arm out. Resist as much as you can. You ready? And the bastards went every time. You see, you only need one or two, what I call internal terrorists in your organisation, who don't answer the phone, who don't pass the lead through. What happens to your team? Because having us all of a sudden, if they're part of your company, they're your competition.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the other 7 companies out there. They're not the problem. Yeah. No, but that's the problem. He's looking at it, he's going, yeah, bring it on. Can you go back to being positive just very quickly? Everyone positive, one last time. Just watch this. Your arms should be getting tired now, eh? Everyone in the room positive. Resist as much as you can. And it's that quick to make a difference. And I need you to understand something really serious. How many of you have got at least one person in your team you know shouldn't be there? How many of you got at least one person? Yep. Why are they there? But you took a risk. I always want to reward people to take risks. Here's a copy of my latest book.
Honestly, thanks.
Give them a round of applause helping me out. Always reward people if they take a risk. Tiny rewards, tiny risks, but make sure you get a reward. Does that make sense? I don't need to bring all of you up here, but I'll do the same process with every one of you. I'm telling you what's killing your company is not the competition.
But what happens if that person is your number one winner?
If they're a terrorist and their energy sucks and everyone is affected by it. Remember David Beckham when he left Man United? When, you know, Ferguson said, you know what, no one's bigger than the club. The problem is what often happens in organisations, especially like yours in recruitment, they hold you hostage. Well, I'm bringing in 200,000. Yeah, but you're costing me energy. People are leaving. Every meeting we have is about John and where he's going to sit and what he wants. If you're not willing to invest and inspire some of these people, they need to be fired. So let me do another really quick exercise for you. Look at some of your senior team, and do you trust them or do you like them, or do you trust and like them? Look at your senior team. Do you trust them, or do you like them, or do you trust and like them? Mike, would it be fair to say that unless you trusted your speakers, you wouldn't have them up here? But you don't have to like them all. But if you didn't trust them, you couldn't have them up here. Whereas I'm sure you've got some people you really like, but you don't trust. See, I only work with people I trust. And I get paid when I get paid. 99.9% of all my clients pay me. Does that make sense? There are a lot of people I like, though, I wouldn't go into business with. But I won't go into business with anyone I don't trust. And I'm telling you now, some of you have got some staff members you don't trust. And they're answering your phone and paying your mortgage. Why are they there? Because you see, if you're here right now, they're answering your phones. And the reason Mike was saying you've got to listen in to some of those phone calls is not necessarily to catch them, it's to train them better. And there are some people, it just needs to change of one word or two. And I'm going to do some stuff on communication in a minute. But there are some people you're listening to because you don't trust them. The minute you don't trust them, why are they there? So the person you left, I bet you didn't trust in the end. I mean, look at that. Yeah. But you didn't trust them. And the minute you lost trust, it didn't matter how good their billing was, they had to go. I don't even know the person, but it's a rare person who fires someone who's billing that much. Would you agree? But it comes a point where enough is enough. I'm going to go into football just for 1 second here and upset a few of you. Anybody know about the Premiership? There are 20 teams in the Premiership. As a speaker in the whole wide world, I think I'm number 17 in the world, okay? Which is pretty good in the Premiership, would you agree? But 17th in the way the Premiership works is worth 60 million a year. Now let me go to the other end of the scheme. In leadership and in management, I think I'm number 4 in the world. Tottenham are number 5. And Tottenham have been number 5 about 7 years by 1 point or 1 goal, and it's costing them like 30 million. They're obviously great because they're 5th. Does that make sense? But 4th, which is what Arsenal have been for the last 16 years, is worth a fortune. How do we get your better team? You know, we were talking about the top 20%, the top 20%. How do we get your top 20% to be even better by 20%? You've got to be 17th in the world of recruitment, in my humble opinion, at whatever level your business is, because then you're still in the Premiership. Does that make sense? But if you really want to be world class, you've got to be 4th in your specialist field. Because 4th, 3rd or 2nd doesn't make that much difference, in my humble opinion. You can't all be number 1. You've just seen what happened with Man United, Man City, Chelsea. It's all the same stuff in a way. But Arsenal keep doing something remarkable. They keep coming at least 4th. Do you want to know a really weird story, though? And this is my one take about football. Do you know when Arsenal's demise happened? And it's really important you understand about this, about recruitment. They lost 1 member of their team about 6 years ago. Anyone know who it was? No. No. You're getting closer, by the way. Yep, 100%. Dan Lewin, their physiotherapist. Dan Lewin was a physio who's now been employed by England full time. Arsenal's big claim to fame was how quick their players got back on the pitch. Since he's left, every time a player's gone out, they've been off for about 8 years, it seems. No, I mean, it's serious. Before he was there, someone broke their leg, they were back the following week. Arsenal, because of Dan Lewin. Dan Lewin was their physiotherapist. Here's the game for you. Who in your team is either your #1 scout or your physiotherapist? And physiotherapist either being mental trainer, physical trainer, coach, who's getting the well-being of your team so they're back on their desks recruiting well. How many of you have ever had this experience? One of your team is doing really well and all of a sudden they go off the cliff a bit. You need Dan Lewin to come in, or Mike or me. Do you know what I mean? We've got to find out what's going on. So you trust them, they've done a really good job, and then something goes wrong. They've lost their mojo. It's nearly always about personal needs, or something mentally or physically is going on for them. You've got to get them back on the desk working well. That's what happened with Arsenal. Dan Lewin left, major issues. Now he's bringing another striker in. Another striker's not the answer. You've got 7 players on the bench who are injured. Does that make sense? So, you've got to be in the room, you've got to model off the best, you've got to be passionate and surround yourself with passionate people. Would you agree? So, when are you going to get rid of some of your Muppets? I have a friend who talks about a program called Unwritten Ground Rules. Unwritten ground rules is what's killing your organisation. It's not the ground rules that are killing you, it's this unwritten ground rule stuff that when Susie and Johnny can get away with this stuff, they think that's acceptable behaviour. When people do unfamiliar, unprofessional behaviour and you allow it, people think that's acceptable. And when they're high billers and they do it, they say, well, yeah, but they're billing well, so it's okay. It's not acceptable. I'm going to do something really quick here. Tell me one thing you've learned so far that you could implement into your business immediately, based on what I've shared so far. Yep, anything else? Yep, anything else? Okay. What you want to be doing is making a decision in the next 24 hours. Are these people worth investing in? Do we want to get Mike, Nigel, whatever to inspire them? Because if we're not willing to invest in that, they need to go. There's a difference between having people on the wrong seat on the right bus, having people in the wrong seat and in the wrong bus. Because sometimes, and we said that before, maybe they're doing the wrong job. You know, you've got someone who's a biller who should be a researcher, or someone who should be a receptionist, or whatever it is, and then lovely people. But if they're genuinely in the wrong place and the wrong company doing the wrong job, it's costing you a fortune to keep them. Your gut, and I'm going to do this before we have the break, is 98% right. Do you know this? So I'm going to ask you to invest in something really expensive called a gut diary. You get a book, and you just write down initial thoughts on loads of different things. So the minute I walked into the room, should I listen to him or not? Whatever. Just go with your gut. Your gut's normally right. Here's the advantage on this system. If you get it wrong 2% of the time, you get it right 9–10% of the time, you've done unbelievably well. Because the cost of the 2% you're getting it wrong is far away by the 98% you got it right. How many of you have ever sat down and you're going to interview a candidate and you've booked an hour, and in the first 11 seconds you just think, this is awful? Just write down really quickly, okay? You don't have to ask them about their reading and their holidays in Norfolk and all the other stuff. You know it's a waste of time. I promise you, once a year you're going to get it horrifically wrong though. You will. You're going to get it wrong whether you do it in the long process or not anyway. I trust everyone I meet until they let me down. And even if I don't trust them, I'm going to get it wrong all right most of the time. Does that make sense? I just trust people because 98% of the world want to make me look better, make me do good. They want to work with me. And 2% are going to let me down. But even if I didn't trust them, 2% are going to let me down. But I have a lot more fun with the 98%. Decide right now that your gut... How many of you have ever listened to your gut? How many of you have ever not listened to your gut and about 3 months later you go, I should listen to my gut? And we just had this conversation about this person. Really, in that interview, you probably thought, not sure. And you know this. But we don't listen to our gut enough. And the best way to learn about your gut is to have a gut diary and see how often you're right. That's why I say have a gut diary. You don't have to make all the decisions on the first day on it. Just go back to your diary every week or so, and you'll see how often you're right. Does that make sense? We are going to have a 6-minute break.
I hope you enjoyed part 2 of Nigel's presentation. Be sure to check out the final part where Nigel uncovers the secrets of communication within a business in a way that you've probably not come across before.